They laughed at his tools first. That's how it always started. The lobby of the Carrington Lofts smelled like polished stone and expensive air freshener, the kind designed to make people forget there were pipes behind walls and sewage beneath floors. A white property manager in a tight blazer stood with her arms crossed, watching the black plumber kneel near a maintenance access panel like he was doing something embarrassing in public. "You brought that?" she said, nodding at the battered toolbox and the plain parts laid out on a rag. "No offense, but this is a luxury building. We usually use real contractors, not cheap fixes." A couple of residents in Athlisher paused by the mailboxes, curious. One man smirked openly. Another whispered, "Is that guy legit?" Like the presence of a black tradesman automatically lowered the building's status. The plumber didn't look up immediately. He kept working the way professionals do when they refuse to be baited. He tightened a fitting with steady hands, wiped a bead of moisture off copper, and then stood slowly. His name patch read, Ernest, but most people called him Ernie, 49 years old, black. Built like a man who'd carried too much weight too many times and learned how to do it without showing strain. He looked at the manager calmly. "You can call it cheap," he said, "or you can call it code." The manager's smile tightened. "Code? Please. This building was remodeled last year. Everything's up to standard." Ernie nodded once, like he'd heard the same lie in 100 buildings. "Then why do you have sewage smell in your stairwell and brown water in Unit 8C? Her eyes narrowed. "Because you're scaring people." Ernie's voice stayed even. "Because your pipes are failing." A resident scoffed. "It's probably just old city lines." Ernie didn't look at him. He looked at the manager. "Your contractor used the wrong venting configuration, and someone tied a kitchen line into a bathroom stack without proper slope. That's why the traps are drying out and you're getting gas backflow." The manager laughed. Short, dismissive. "Wow, you think you can diagnose a whole building in 10 minutes? Ernie's gaze was steady. "I diagnosed it in 3. I just didn't want to embarrass you." The manager's cheeks flushed. "Excuse me?" Ernie gestured toward the access panel. "You don't have a smell problem. You have a safety problem. Sewer gas is toxic. It's not just gross." The manager waved him off like he was dramatic. "Just patch whatever you need to patch. We need this quiet by tonight. We have a leasing event." A leasing event. That was why she wanted a quiet fix, not a safe fix. Quiet. Ernie looked at the line of residents watching and said calmly, "A patch won't hold." The manager's tone sharpened. "So you're refusing to work?" Ernie shook his head. "I'm refusing to pretend." She stepped closer, lowering her voice like a threat. "Do you want to get paid or not?" Ernie met her eyes. "I want you not to poison people." Her face hardened. "Do your cheap fix." Ernie looked down at his tools, then back up. "No," he said. "I'm doing the right fix." And that was when she decided to humiliate him. "Fine," she said loudly, turning slightly toward the residents. "Everyone, this is why you don't hire bargain plumbers. He's trying to upsell us. We'll call someone qualified." A few people laughed politely. The man by the mailboxes smirked wider. Ernie didn't react. He simply reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. The manager's eyes narrowed. "Who are you calling?" Ernie said. "The city." Her smile vanished. "Don't be ridiculous." Ernie's voice stayed calm. "You can fire me, you can mock me, but you can't ignore a code violation once it's reported." The lobby went quiet, because suddenly the moment wasn't about cheap tools. It was about authority, the kind that comes with inspections, fines, and shutdowns. And within an hour, the Carrington Lofts would learn what Ernie already knew. When you build luxury on shortcuts, the weakest part isn't the plumbing. It's the lie. Ernest Caldwell. Ernie didn't become a plumber because it was glamorous. He became a plumber because he grew up watching his mother boil water on the stove whenever their apartment pipes ran brown, watching landlords patch leaks with tape and prayer, watching neighbors get sick from mold nobody could find. He learned early that working systems are dignity. When your water is clean, your home is safe. When your home is safe, you can breathe. He apprenticed at 18, got licensed, then built his reputation the slow way. One job done right, one inspection passed, One building saved from a bad shortcut. He wasn't cheap. He was fair. He charged what quality cost and refused jobs that demanded he violate code. That refusal had cost him contracts over the years. It had also saved him from lawsuits, deaths, and the kind of guilt you can't sleep off. The reason he was at Carrington Lofts that day was because the building's usual contractor, Apex Modern Builders, had stopped answering calls. Apex was a flashy company with glossy trucks and a polished website. They had done the remodel. They had signed off on the systems. They had also apparently disappeared the moment the building started showing symptoms. Carrington Lofts was a 5-story luxury conversion, old brick warehouse turned upscale apartments. Beautiful from the outside, expensive inside. Tenants paid for historic charm and modern convenience. The problem was the renovation had been rushed. Everyone in trades could smell rushed work the way you can smell rot. The first tenant complaints came as whispers. My sink gurgles. My shower drains slow. It smells weird near the stairs. Then came the bigger ones. Brown water. Toilet backing up. Headaches. Nausea. The manager, Paige Whitmore, white, early 30s, treated complaints like inconveniences. She ran the building like a brand. She cared about reviews. She cared about leasing. She cared about keeping the lobby pristine and the residents happy enough not to post pictures. She did not care about what was behind walls. When Unit 8C reported sewage smell and water discoloration, Paige called Apex. Apex didn't respond, so she called around and found Ernie through a resident's recommendation. She didn't want Ernie. She wanted Apex back, but she wanted the problem quiet more than she wanted pride. Until Ernie started speaking truth loudly. Ernie walked the building before touching anything. That was his habit. Symptoms tell you where the body hurts, but you still need to understand the system. He checked the main stack access. He listened at a vent line and heard the wrong kind of gurgle. He checked a trap primer and found it dry. He tested a drain slope with a small level and felt his jaw tighten. He smelled sewer gas in the stairwell, faint but present. He looked at Paige and said, "You have venting failure, and likely an illegal tie-in." Paige waved him off. "Just fix the smell." Ernie said, "The smell is the warning." He requested access to the mechanical room. Paige hesitated. "That's tenant-free. We don't usually—" Ernie cut her gently. "Then you usually don't fix things." She let him in. Inside the mechanical space, Ernie saw what he expected. New-looking pipes installed too fast. PVC transitions into cast iron without proper couplings. Flexible connectors where rigid was required. Vents that dead-ended. A backflow preventer installed wrong. It wasn't one mistake. It was a pattern of shortcuts. Ernie took photos, quietly, professionally, because he knew he'd need proof. Then he returned to the lobby to begin the first urgent safety correction, restore trap seals and stop gas intrusion. That's when Paige mocked his cheap fix, because the part Ernie laid out, an air admittance valve and proper primer components, looked small. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't expensive looking. It was correct. Paige didn't respect correct. She respected expensive. Ernie tried one more time. "Paige, this building needs a full vent audit and corrections. Your contractor did not meet code. If you patch it, it'll fail again, and next time it could flood sewage into units." Paige snapped. "We're not ripping walls open. Do something temporary." Ernie shook his head. "Temporary is what got you here." Paige raised her voice so residents could hear. "We'll call someone who understands luxury standards." Ernie exhaled slowly and made his call. He contacted the city's plumbing inspection office and filed a formal complaint as a licensed tradesperson. Suspected venting violations, improper backflow prevention, sewer gas intrusion, potential public health risk. When you file that kind of complaint, the city has to respond. And Carrington Lofts had no idea how quickly "we'll keep it quiet" becomes "we're shutting it down." At 2:06 p.m., a city vehicle pulled up outside, a white and blue truck with the municipal seal. Out stepped Inspector Marcia Delgado, Latina, mid-40s, hard hat, clipboard, and the kind of expression that says she's not there to be charmed. Behind her was a younger inspector, trainee, carrying equipment. Paige's face tightened when she saw them. "Can I help you?" Marcia said, "City plumbing inspection. We received a complaint of sewer gas intrusion and code violations." Paige forced a smile. "That must be a misunderstanding." Marcia's eyes didn't soften. "Who is the licensed plumber on site?" Ernie stepped forward. "Me, Ernest Caldwell." Marcia nodded once. "Show me." Paige snapped. "He's not our contractor." Marcia looked at Paige. "He's licensed. That's enough for me to listen." Paige's smile cracked. "This building passed inspection last year." Marcia replied, "Then it should pass again today." They walked. Ernie guided the inspector through the stairwell, where the smell was strongest. Marcia held a meter, measured gas levels, and her brow furrowed. She moved quickly now. They entered Unit 8C. The tenant, a white woman named Lauren, stood with her arms crossed, frustrated and scared. "It smells like a sewer," Lauren said. "I get headaches." Marcia nodded. She checked the bathroom vent. She checked the traps. She checked the backflow valve. Then she asked for access to mechanical. Paige tried to stall. "We can schedule," Marcia cut in. "Now." They went down. Marcia saw the same pattern Ernie saw. Her face went colder with each glance. "This coupling is wrong," she said. "This vent terminates illegally. This backflow preventer is not installed to spec. This tie-in is not permitted." Paige's voice rose, defensive. "But Apex," Marcia turned sharply. "I don't care who did it. I care that it's dangerous." She looked at Ernie. "You reported this?" Ernie nodded. "Yes." Marcia exhaled. "Good." Paige's cheeks flushed. "He's trying to make us look bad." Marcia's eyes cut through her. "Your pipes are doing that without help." Then Marcia did the thing Paige feared most. She pulled out a bright red notice form and started writing. Paige's voice cracked slightly. "What are you doing?" Marcia didn't look up. "Issuing a stop-use order for the affected plumbing system." Paige went pale. "You can't shut down a luxury building." Marcia finally looked at her. "Luxury doesn't change code," Paige stammered. "We have residents, leases." Marcia's voice was steel. "You have residents breathing sewer gas." The lobby, when they returned, felt different. Residents gathered, quiet, uneasy. Paige tried to hold her smile, but it looked like it might break. Marcia posted the notice on the lobby wall. "Stop use, plumbing system. Code violations, immediate correction." Required no one had to read the fine print to understand what it meant. Paige's leasing event was dead. Her reputation was dead too. A resident asked, "Does that mean we can't use our bathrooms?" Marcia replied, "Certain stacks are restricted until repairs are verified. Your management must provide temporary accommodations." Paige looked like she might faint. Ernie stood to the side, calm, not triumphant, just steady. He didn't enjoy this. People would suffer inconvenience. But inconvenience is cheaper than illness. Inconvenience is cheaper than death. Paige turned toward him, furious now that her control was gone. "Are you happy?" she hissed. Ernie looked at her calmly. "No, I'm tired." Paige's voice shook. "You could have just fixed it quietly." Ernie said, "Quietly is how people get sick." Marcia overheard and looked at Paige. "He did the responsible thing. You should thank him." Paige's eyes flashed. "Thank him? He just—" Marcia cut her off. "He just prevented you from being sued into the ground after someone gets hospitalized. If you don't understand that, you shouldn't manage buildings." Silence. Residents started whispering about Apex, about shortcuts, about why Paige mocked the only person telling the truth. A man in a suit near the mailboxes said, "So the luxury remodel was fake?" Another resident muttered, "We've been complaining for months." Paige's shoulders slumped slightly. For the first time, she looked less like a manager and more like a person realizing she'd built her career on pretending problems didn't exist. The next 2 weeks were chaos for Carrington Lofts. Apex Modern Builders tried to dodge responsibility, but the city report was explicit. The building's owner, an investment group, panicked when they realized non-compliance could cost them massive fines and lawsuits. They hired a real engineering firm. Walls were opened, pipes were replaced, vent stacks were rerun, backflow prevention was corrected, residents were given temporary accommodations and rent credits. Paige tried to blame Ernie. It didn't stick, because the city report didn't include Ernie's opinion. It included measurements, code citations, photographs, facts. Ernie was asked by the ownership group to consult on repairs. He agreed, but on one condition. You don't cut corners again. They paid him properly. They listened. And the funniest part, if you could call it funny, was that the cheap fix Paige mocked ended up being the exact correct fix for several issues. Proper trap primers, correct venting, legal couplings. The parts were inexpensive. The expertise wasn't. One afternoon as crews worked, Paige approached Ernie in the hallway. Her face looked different, less sharp, more embarrassed. "I owe you an apology," she said quietly. Ernie didn't smile. "For what part?" Paige swallowed. "For mocking you. For assuming." Ernie nodded once. "Yeah." Paige's eyes lowered. "I didn't understand." Ernie's voice stayed calm. "You understood luxury, not plumbing." Paige flinched but didn't argue. "I'm learning." Ernie looked at her. "Learn faster next time. People live in your buildings." Paige nodded. "I will." Ernie walked away because he wasn't there to comfort her guilt. He was there to make the building safe. 2 months later, Carrington Lofts reopened fully compliant. The lobby still smelled expensive, but now the pipes behind the walls were right. Sewer gas was gone. Water ran clear. Residents stopped getting headaches. No more brown water. No more gurgling drains. The building owners hosted a small relaunch event with wine and brochures and forced smiles. Ernie didn't attend. He was at another job across town, fixing a school's broken main line because kids deserve clean water more than luxury residents deserve image. But Marcia Delgado, the city inspector, stopped by his job site that week and said, "You were right to report them." Ernie wiped his hands and said, "I know." Marcia nodded. Most people would have taken the quick money and walked away. Ernie's eyes were steady. "I've seen what quick money costs." Marcia gave him a respectful look. "Keep doing it." Ernie nodded once. "Always." Because that was the ending. They mocked the black plumber's cheap fix because they thought professionalism came from price tags and because they assumed his skills didn't match their building status. Until the city inspector shut the building down, and suddenly everyone had to face the truth. The only thing cheaper than Ernie's parts had been the shortcuts they paid for, and those shortcuts nearly poisoned an entire building.